I'm doing it.
Hands off, please, folks. Hand there, already on.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happier than that. Happy Sunday. There we go. It's going to be a happy Sunday. I'm determined to make it so. Welcome to Wimbledon Spiritualist Church. Welcome back. Lots of familiar faces there. I'm Ashley Robinson. I'm the Vice President here at Ministers of Religion. And double team today with my mum. This is Jackie Robinson. And we're thrilled to be here today. We're going to go live on YouTube and Facebook this morning. So good morning to everyone joining us on YouTube as well. This is our Divine Service at Wimbledon Spiritualist Church. We're thrilled for those of you joining us online as well. When we're doing the mediumship, the messages that we're obviously delivering will come out across that as well. Otherwise, really pleased to be here. And I say it's a happy Sunday. I'm determined to make it a happy Sunday. You'll know from my address in a little while that it's been a roller coaster. And I'm sure you're all on your own spiritual roller coasters at the moment, different things that are happening to you. So my mum's going to do the opening reading. I'll bring her in to do that now. But I think you know us both well enough, other than by label. Obviously, mum's the president here and has been involved in this church since the late 1970s, early 80s. And Grandad then took over as president. 1977. Good year. Good year for whiskey and Wimbledon Spiritualist Church. You know, I'm a third generation sort of spiritualist. My boy is now fourth generation spiritualist. So really pleased to be here today at this divine service. So Mum, I'll hand over to you for the reading from a new debut author, yes. Local author. Yes.
I make no apology for my choice of reading, but in fact, it's not so much the fact that it is Ashley's book, and I have read quite a few different bits from Ashley's book when I do chair. But actually, I was influenced by it, by the fact that if you know us as a family, then you know that Ray was taken ill in Devon. We'd only arrived there the night before, and he was really poorly and looked after really beautifully by Exeter Hospital. But the healing that was sent through, as she put it on social media, and he said there was about 100 comments of people sending him healing and good wishes. And a friend I used to work with that lives down in Ashford and works abroad, you know, to Marion, you know, my friend is for 50 odd years. But we managed to get him out. It's touch and go whether he would leave hospital in time for us to get a lift back with our children, or we'd have to come home by train next week. Touch and go whether they were going to do surgery or whether it could wait till he got back to St George's. But I do know that the power of healing. So really, I'm influenced by the power of healing, because we also had Ethan unwell on the journey back home, to the point that Ashley had to take him up to the local hospital Friday evening, and it was suspected sepsis. And he'd gone down one of these enormous slides and got a little bit of a burn on his leg. And that might have been the entry to an infection, but they don't know for sure. But at least they ruled out sepsis. But he did have a fever of 39 on a couple of occasions. But the short reading that I'm going to read is actually quite near to Ashley's book. But it says, and he doesn't know what I'm reading, but he's talking about, in 2018, I had a stroke. A third of the left-hand side of my brain was damaged. I'd had a long day, difficult meetings, running late, trying to get into rugby training. A voice inside told me to slow down, but I pushed through. By the time I got into the car with my wife, sister and mum, I was disorientated. My speech was slurred. I started mixing up words and calling the air conditioning, the air controlling system, confusing objects and people, referring to my telephone as music leads. I was terrified, and it was as though he was drunk, because I was the driver of that car. In those times, we used to all come home from work together, and I was actually taking him to pick his car up for him to go rugby training. So had he had the stroke an hour later, he may well have been driving himself, but we were able to take him straight to St Helier. And really, it was an incredible time because Ray and I took his rugby tour to Belgium for him and captained his rugby squad without him because it was touch and go, and he couldn't recognise who we were by name, and he couldn't say his wife's name, and he couldn't, when the doctor came around and said, "What's this on your wrist?" and he said a banana. It was really, my Rachel was with us because there were 7 of us. But the incredible thing was that within a 48-hour period of time, he'd started to have this incredible amount of healing. And there's a lovely lady who's in spirit now, Mara Kent, and her parents actually were instrumental during the war with sort of, they were spying, but they were spying by remote viewing. So they were visioning their self abroad in places, and it was an incredible ability they had. And Mara visited Ashley, and she said what she would do, she would create other routes for the brain. So she would create new blood vessels for him to go. And the reason I say that is because I think with the healing that Ray got and then the healing that Ethan got, but as I say, I'll end it with Ashley's, going back to the book. But it said, my wife Claire was on the phone to her mum, a stroke nurse, and she urged us to get to the hospital. There the reality hit, but within days I experienced what I can only describe as a spontaneous recovery. Thanks to thousands of absent healing thoughts, visits from spiritual friends, and the energy of love sent across the ether, I walked out of hospital sooner than expected. That moment changed me. It brought me closer to spirit than ever before. I no longer see God as a figurehead, not a man in the sky, not a bearded father. For me, God is the total energy of everything, the grand geometrician, the great architect. Once I held Christian views tightly, Jesus as the only Son of God. But over time, even that evolved. The words of Jesus still hold power, but I now see them as a metaphor, as energy, as teachings, clothed in language we could relate to. Throughout my life, I've been blessed with support from family, mentors, circle leaders, friends, and those in spirit. My parents, Ray and Jackie, my grandparents, Derek and Hazel, my wife, Claire, to whom I'll be celebrating 20 years of marriage. Her family, through rooted in Irish Catholic traditions, have embraced my spirituality with open minds and kind hearts. My life in the civil service hasn't always afforded me perfect balance, juggling work with church, ministry, circles, and this very book has had its moments of exhaustion. But if I have any success, it is because of the love and support of my wife and children who give me that space to be me. And to readers, know this, your path is valid, even if it looks different, especially if it looks different. Trust your instincts, honor your experiences. If you wish to help others, start simply. Share a book, recommend a meditation, invite someone to circle, or just be present with love. Giving service doesn't mean giving all of yourself all of the time. The test of values is not what we give when you have much, but what you still give when you feel you have little. Even the smallest kindness done in love can change a life. I've had the privilege of demonstrating mediumship to audiences around the world, speaking on platforms and screens, and hosting Being Spiritual on SPTV. That's every Tuesday fortnight. It's been one of the most joyful, humbling, and healing experiences of my life, and I hope in some small way it helps you. In a world where many seek answers, sometimes the greatest gift we can offer is space for questions. So as I close this reading, I want to leave you with this. There is no final chapter to the soul, no finish line for the spirit. Each sunrise is a new invitation, each challenge a classroom, each moment an opportunity to grow. Whether you are beginning, returning, doubling, or doubting, or awakening, I honour the sacred ground you walk. Walk your path with courage, speak your truth with kindness, and always, always listen to the whisper of spirit within, with love and light and laughter. Ashley. But it just shows the healing that Ashley got that time with his stroke, which led him to a different pathway. And it was touch and go whether either of us would be here today to even be part of this service. But we have a sort of motto, the show must go on. And, I'm just pleased to say that we haven't got 2 members of the family in hospital. They're both at home. Ray obviously needs some sort of procedure. fairly quickly at St George's because some of his gallstones have escaped and they want to catch him, a bit like hooker duck, they said to us. So if he has this procedure, keep him going till his gallbladder is removed, or who knows, St George's might decide to do it. So you may not see Ray for a while. There may be a few weeks or months that you don't see him. But let's hope that these surgeries happen now within a short space of time. And let's hope that Ethan, with the healing that's sent to him, but it shows the healing that was sent to Ashley. And the healing I've always had to recover, from surgeries and illnesses. It's the power of spirit, the energy of spirit. And we start that with a lovely Sunday morning, and that we're both pleased to be here, to be able to be part of. Thank you very much for listening to my opening reading. And then there's no introduction really needed because I've said it partly in the book, but it's time for Ashley to just introduce himself and then for him to do the opening prayer.
Thanks, Mum. And although I wrote that book, actually, each time I hear it sort of read back to me, it feels like I'm still learning for the next time. A lot of my book was sort of inspired writings and sort of channeled. And it's actually only been this year that I read my own book aloud. Because you edit it in your head and you do a lot of sort of proofreading. And I'm trying to digitally encode it. So there's like an audible version. And it sounds arrogant, but hopefully you'll understand it from a spiritual point of view. I was reading it. I thought, that sounds really interesting. I can't agree with that. I was reading it out loud. So it's been nice for me, and I think we all try and take those daily sort of spiritual trips. But folks, let's now join together and open in prayer. As we gather here today at Wimbledon Spiritualist Church in love and unity, let us lay aside the cares of the day and open our hearts and our minds to the peace that surrounds us. We invite the presence of the divine Mother Earth, whose gentle strength nurtures us, and Father God, whose light guides us on a journey. May the spirit world draw close, bringing forward loved ones, family and helpers to share messages of hope, healing and comfort. May their words remind us that love is eternal and that love transcends the boundaries of time and space. We ask a blessing upon this sacred space, upon all who have gathered, both seen and unseen, and upon the work we're about to do in the service of spirit. May we now be the instruments of love and truth. So mote it be. Amen. Okay, healing prayer. You want to read the healing prayer? And then the serenity prayer. I'll let you come do the healing prayer, and I'll do the serenity prayer.
Well, the serenity prayer is
the
our
healing
prayer.
Okay.
During COVID, we decided that the serenity prayer needed the courage. In fact, it is here, but
it's right in front of me.
That's right. I often do that. But what we do with the reading out of the names for today, and there's an incredible list of names,
and then I'll do this,
including Ray and I, and Ethan, of course, as well as Claire's done so much driving, and her back is really in need of some healing. But we also have Anne, Elliot, Linda, Christine, Susan, Sarah, Frankie. I'm not sure if it's
Judy.
It's Judy, okay. Diane, another Joy, Daniela, Steve, Anne, Peter, Danny, Auntie Phil, June Malkin, Lee Oswald, Fabrice, Emily Rose, Alex, Rosemary, Peter, John, Claude, Ruben and Fiona, Jenny and Carol, Mary, Philomena, Ray, Daphne and Ivor, Leslie, Angela, Peter, Billy Butterell, Chris, Marion, Valerie, Jeff Williams, Ruby, Barbara, and there's a lady, Pat, that's lived with Bruce Bailey for many years that passed to the spirit world a few days ago. So if we can send some thoughts to Pat's family and to Bruce on the love of his beloved friend with her transition to the spirit world. And we just think of those other people that we know that ourselves that have not been very well, or those that are about to, have that journey, final earth journey back to heaven. So we think of all of those, and we think of the animal kingdom. We think of those that have been caught in the fires all round Europe and even in Suffolk. Think of all the ground that's been burnt. Think of the tiny animals and insects that have been caught up in the fire. The birds, the small animals, whether or not they have managed to find safety, and the shock and the horror of it all. Think of all of those natural disasters that are happening, as well as those acts of war that are still happening around the world, and this insecurity of not knowing whether or not we're going to have peace. But let's hope that there seems to be some peace on the cards again for the umpteenth time. So let's just send those healing thoughts out, ask our healing angels to do our work and to send them all of the love that we can and the energy that we can. And Ashley will now read our serenity prayer.
God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Sitting in the power, anchored in spirit. For those of you that arrived at the church this morning would have seen me unpacking some products wearing those slogans. And as I bid good morning to everybody, I know that some of you know that some of those hoodies, anchored in spirit, sit on the power, that phrase actually comes from readers of my book, Spirituality Simplified. Mum was reading from that today. And I write about my own life, anchored in spirit, among other things. And people started quoting it back to me. And eventually I thought, oh, I'll put that on a hoodie. Maybe someone would wear it. And it was never really about marketing, although I hope it will be a marketing idea. If you don't have a copy of my book, I can sign one for you today. Actually, it was about survival. And it was a survival strategy, because it turns out that branding and testimony, actually, they're the same thing, particularly if you're desperate enough, because it's been a proper week. It's been a proper year. Dad taken unwell, Mum was talking about, well, we're meant to be having a lovely family holiday in Devon. It's been a real roller coaster year. Ethan's health, just as we were celebrating getting Dad out of hospital, Ethan's health going downhill, giving a real scare. And, you know, my civil service life work's been throwing up more drama than a soap opera that my nan would have been glued to on an omnibus. Underneath all of that heavy weight, just before Christmas into the new year, was the loss of a young life. The kind that makes you go really quiet and just sit with it, because there are no real words for it. And that loss has a name. Tom Fawn, for me, just 30 years old, taken from us by a brain tumour about 6 months ago now. We were celebrating his sister's 40th birthday yesterday. But let me just have that sit with you for a second, because it doesn't sit easily with me, and I'm sure it won't sit easily with you, and you'll have your own experience in your own life. But in this church, we often talk about the concept. Some of you will already know, some of you might be hearing again or properly for the first time, but there's this idea, this concept that at the moment of conception, you know, life force of mum and dad, on some level, you as a spirit being have a choice. Maybe you choose a particular family. Some go further to say you might even make contracts with groups of souls. You agree to incarnate on earth around the same time. And as each other, you do it together. Maybe you're picking a life based on some sort of likely scenario. Almost like scrolling through the Netflix library on your phone or your TV and thinking, yeah, that one's got a good storyline. I think I need that in my life. But there's a catch to that, because earth isn't the same as that place I call heaven. In heaven, all you need to do is think about it. Instantly, it can happen. You make it so. There's no resistance, no chaos, no free will in the same way. Because down here, there are conditions, physics, biology, chance, chaos. Universal law says the spirit world doesn't override that. They can't just reach down and switch it off, however much they want to. So some of what happens to us, even something as brutal as a brain tumor, might genuinely be part of someone's chosen path, an element of their destiny playing out exactly as they agreed. But, and I think this is important, it's really important to me, I also believe, from what Spirit has shown me time and time again in terms of evidence that sometimes illness isn't destiny at all. Sometimes it's simply the conditions of earth and what the earthly plane is doing and you going through it, and what goes beyond anyone's control from the spirit world. I believe that everything is energy and that every bit of energy is spirit and spirit energy is energy. So one way or another, energy is finding a way to experience something through us. But this body, this vessel, this earthly vessel, doesn't always hold up to the experiment, to the destiny, to the reality. And sometimes it just can't recover. When that happens, I believe we go home, back to that place I call heaven, back to the spirit world, earlier than any of us would have chosen, be that by contract or by destiny, prematurely, before the story felt finished to those of us left holding it. Any one of those things in my life would knock the wind out of you. All of them together, back to back in this year, not just a bad sort of start to the year, it's been a test and a challenge. It's a test of everything I say, you say, that we believe. And here's what I want to tell you honestly. It hasn't shaken my faith. It's anchored it. It's tested it, but it's anchored it. I saw that name anchoring in my own boys, and I'm still a bit of awe. Back in May, in the middle of the heat wave, Ethan and Noah climbed Mount Snowdon. And they didn't just climb it. They dedicated the training, the journey, and that experience, the whole walk, to their Uncle Tom. Two young lads, dripping in sweat, going door to door and person to person, asking if anyone had a few quid to sponsor them so they could briefly be the tallest standing human being in Wales. Thanks to you in this church, thanks to my friends and family that dug into their pockets. They have now raised almost £1,000 for NHS charities. So thank you very much to all of you. Not because anyone told them to do it, because that's what you do with grief when you're anchored. You don't let it sit still and rot. You put boots on it and you walk up a mountain with poles, because that's the difference, I think, between being jarred and being anchored. Jarred means the storm moves you. Anchored means the storm can take all the rage it likes and you're still tethered to something solid underneath it. Not because life got easier, because I stopped trying to white knuckle my way through it alone. And I started really reflecting on that phrase of sitting in the power instead, and what it really meant to me, because I've heard it all my life as a third generation spiritualist. But you know what sitting in the power actually is? When you strip away the incense and the candles, it's surrender. It's saying, I can't fix this on my own, and I'm not meant to. It's making the space, going quiet, going still, and trusting. Absolute trust that something bigger than my to-do list is holding the rest of it together. And here's the bit that my youngest or middle boy, Noah, who's out there, said about spirit and asked him for help. He said to me, Dad, it's like connecting to the best Wi-Fi network there is. There's no lag, there's no buffering, there's no reconnecting or spinning wheel and no lag. Full bars all of the time, everywhere. You don't need a password, Dad. You don't need permission. You just need to ask and you're already connected. I love that concept of this free Wi-Fi, this divine signal. And I think about that a lot now. We did that about 18 months ago when he came up with that phrase when we were looking at the values. And I've been thinking, why does this connection feel weak? When actually we never asked. We never sat still long enough to even open the app. So here's my ask of you this week as we sort of go forwards. And I'm asking myself exactly the same thing. I'm doing it more often and with pronouncing. Counting your blessings. Not the vague, someday sort of, I'll be grateful when things settle down. No, make it really specific. Today, right now. That's what sitting in the power for me is all about. I will be healthy. I am healthy enough to stand here and speak to you this morning. Not, I will be strong. I am strong enough to have got out of bed today. Not, I will be loved. I am loved by people in this room, in this church, in my family, people that have crossed over and haven't gone anywhere at all. Present tense. Right now. That's where the power actually lives. Not in the promise of a better tomorrow, but in the proof that it's already sitting in your hands today. So, however heavy your week, your year has been, and for some of you in this church, I know it's been difficult. I invite you to do what I've been doing, what I'm still doing, sitting in your own power. Ask for the help. Trust the connection that's already there. There's no, I would say, no lag, no buffering, just spirit. Full signal, waiting for you to open the app. And I'm told there's plenty of unemployed angels waiting for a job. So to every single one of you carrying something heavy right now, and to most of us in this church are carrying something, keep on keeping on. Keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when it's just boots on grief, walking up a mountain, because that might be the only way through. But remember, you're not walking alone, and you never have been. Love doesn't stop when someone crosses over or transitions, and it doesn't stop when life gets hard down here on that earth experience, our learning and development. Love keeps walking. It walks with Tom, it walks with my dad and my son Ethan, it walks with every one of you, and it will keep walking with all of us every single day, for as long as we need it to. Amen to that. New expression must start.
Yes, in fact, what we'll do, we'll get the collection plate so that I don't forget it this time. If T's ready to take the collection plate, before I just do a brief explanation, we won't do the extra reading at the end of the service because we're finished probably a little bit before time, because at 1 o'clock we'll all be coming back. Well, I hope that many of you will stay for the demonstration of Transfiguration with Phil Shaw and Ashley. So in order to give them a cup of tea in between the two. Now, the explanation of mediumship, really, I think there's one or two new faces, but hopefully you've been in a spiritualist church before, so you understand what mediumship is. So, but Ashley will, and I, because I'll be working with him, and it'd be nice, I haven't worked for Ashley for a long time, we will try to demonstrate proof of survival, of evidence that's specific to that. And, you know, and even through difficult times, as I say, and Ashley was saying, and it has been quite an incredible week. And my cousin had her funeral last Thursday, and she's my age, 4 weeks older than me. And what was nice was that they were just doing donations to a cancer charity because it was cancer that took her over. And that's nice to be able, there was a site from the undertakers where you put a donation and you put little comments about the individual, and that's quite a nice thing to do, I think, rather than flowers. I mean, I love flowers, and in fact I thought I'd do a little bit of flower clairsentience when I start. But I also just wanted to mention a couple of extra notices. Phil will be coming up and reading the notices after the mediumship, but I've got a psychic afternoon tea this coming Saturday at Hackbridge, and because of the things that are happening in the week, I've not been right on top of getting everyone to confirm they were coming. So I'm pretty sure I've got some vacancies. So if anyone is free Saturday afternoon and would like to come to a psychic cream tea, then, you know, let us know afterwards. Give us your number, because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have some vacancies where I've not managed to contact people to say, look, you said you was interested. So that would be a really lovely social activity, actually, because it'd be the readings and it'd be talking around a little table with refreshments and just a nice way of spiritually minded people being together. And in fact, Julie Caswell's going to do some of her wax art, and I'm going to be working with Julie as well during the course of that Saturday afternoon. And we've also got a couple of items coming up. We've got a guy called Chris Shearer that's opening up his own centre in Wigan. And he and his wife Karen are coming down next weekend. They're working down on the south coast, and then on their way back up to Wigan, he's going to work here on the Monday evening. So it's very unusual. I don't think we've ever had a demonstration of mediumship on a Monday. But if you could make it, I would love to have as many people here as possible for Chris Shearer. And we're also in talks with a Canadian group that are going to be doing a retreat on Monday and Tuesday, the 13th and 14th of September. Some more information on that in the next few days, because as I say, I'm a little bit behind with some of my paperwork. But I just wanted to mention those couple of things. I know we've got Lee Roberts coming in September, but Phil will have all the other information on that. So the last thing really to say before I hand over to Ashley and I work is that, you know, if you've suddenly got relatives on your doorstep that you haven't seen or heard of for ages, then greet them with love and affection. Answer up in a nice, clear, positive yes, because that love is felt by the Spirit. It's felt by me, it's felt by Ashley, and they know that you're pleased to see them. Because otherwise, you know, they don't have to. They're not sitting on a cloud in the hope we want to contact them. They've got incredibly busy lives on their next part of their journey. So if they've stopped and they know that you intended to come, but then they've come in with you. So let's give them that love. Let's give them that spiritual hug. I know that we're actually trying to give them a physical hug, because that does make a difference. Okay, so with that, I'm now going to ask Ash if he's got his first communicator. If not, then I'll start. You have.
So you're going to come in?
I can do.
Okay, so my first communicator is a lady. This lady communicates to me. She talks about being family. She's mother. She's also a grandmother. The letter S for Sierra is important. I think possibly hearing the name is Sarah, Sally. I've got the S would definitely be significant. 9th September. So the second week of September, there's a significance of a birthday there. This lady that would be family to you, as she communicates to me, she takes me over to the left-hand side of the body around her heart and her lungs. I've had an impact around my heart, and I feel I've either been overcome or overwhelmed by some sort of viral, it's either like a bronchitis, pneumonia, something like that, and then heart failure at the very end of that. So I'm looking for someone in the church that's going to understand lady, family, the letter S, the birthday in September, and this heart and lung related condition. No one here at the moment. Okay, let me get some more information. Okay, she showed me the letter C. Now, C sometimes symbolic of a cancerous type condition, and maybe she's giving me life-limiting conditions rather than end of life. So looking for someone that's mum, your mum, okay, and the grandmother. Okay, someone's going to understand this lady in the spirit world. The letter S isn't her name. It's to do with you and her. There's an S that's alive. Sarah, Sally, Sandra is the noise I can hear with her. She, I think, is actually part of a cancerous type condition, but she's had, it's almost like either growths on the lung, the left lung in particular around here, and a sort of spread and impact around there. You understand this?
Yeah, I think I'm medical.
Okay.
She had bronchitis and she went with pneumonia, but I can't place the letters at the moment.
Okay, so
second week in September, that's my sister's birthday.
Sister's birthday, second week of September. So it's just the letter S for Sierra that wouldn't make sense to you at the moment.
I can't think of it. I've got aunties and all that with relatives, but I can't significantly see it out.
But it's on mum's side of the family. Mum's talking about being a sister. She's a sister, she's an auntie.
Yeah, she's a sister to about, well, somewhere out there, to about 11.
Yeah, so there's someone that's alive. So as a sister, I want to, this would be your cousins, because it's something to do with, I think it's her sister's child, the letter S.
Stephanie.
There we go. Right, thank you very much. It's okay if I work with you?
Yeah, of course.
I feel. As she comes in, I feel like the reason that she was talking about the letter S and Stephanie is that there'd almost been like a signal flare. I don't know if you'd either recently been in contact with Stephanie, or that she had become aware about you, and that mum felt like she was almost being teleported in. It was like this signal. And as she communicated with me, so it was your sister's birthday, the second week of September, that she was making reference to.
Just a couple of days after that, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was around the 9th. And I knew I was in the month of September because she was showing me that sort of month. Okay, thank you. 4, 5, what about 4, 5, 6? Well, she's counting up. She's counting up like we're counting doses. Okay, thank you. Treatment. She's showing me 4, 5, and 6 in sequence, and there's something she's making reference to. Okay, right. Thank you. So she's talking about this cancerous type condition that she's had in her blood. You've given me that information. Yeah. She's talking about the fact there was different phases of treatment. She's talking about, I feel like I was in between phases of treatment. I wasn't able to complete. This had consumed me. And she was making reference to that because she was talking about options and phases.
Some weeks right, actually, but some weeks it was pretty quick. They tried a few things. I know she got a test to use Cheshunt World Adventures and got a blood condition, etc. She was in intensive care.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, you understand who your communicator is, and as she comes forward with me, she's pleased to see you at the top of the tower. I said, what sort of tower? She says, elevated, seeing the big picture. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
There was an element of she's calling it retreat, a place of safety, and it was important to then get you safe. Right. So pleased to see now that you're climbing that tower.
Thank you.
And there's a real difference here around personal responsibility. So I'm not going to go too much into your private life. No, but what she's telling me is that decisions that you've made to influence your life, she is pleased about because it feels like there's an element of reflection and change. Okay.
Yeah. And
now you can see the big picture and you can see the opportunities that are out there. And that's really important. Yeah. Also in the process of helping someone else see the bigger picture, and you're using what I'm going to call like a faith and belief system. You're using your spirituality to help someone else see something slightly bigger.
I've probably done it a few people. I can't,
there's a J, letter J that she's mentioning. Now, J's my mum's name, and I know that
that's the name of her nephew.
Yeah, and there's J. And you've been talking to them, like almost, I've got coaching style questions. So rather than you telling them what to do, it's almost like you've been asking them a couple of questions that's made them think about their actions and behaviors.
Yeah, I was talking about him yesterday with my sister.
Okay.
Thank you.
And is that the sister that had the September birthday?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So I know that
it's Judge Judy. She has me calling that.
Yeah.
She told me off.
Keep asking the right questions.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashley.
Because doesn't feel like either your sister or your nephew in the position of being told what to do, but it's by asking them the right questions, you're planting seeds of what they really need to do because you're giving them some things they need to do.
Like nothing changes, and yeah, thank you.
So you're doing the right thing, and recognise it would have been easy just to have gone along with them rather than challenge the status quo. But what you're doing shows great moral courage. Okay?
Thank you.
This is good for you. Do you want to come in and add to this, or do you want the next community?
Yeah.
Add to it. Okay. And then you bring in the next one and I'll add to you.
I will. Indeed. Okay. Phil, what I want to do, I'm linking with Mum. Mum is in the spirit world.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Mum is giving me a forget-me-not. I don't know if she had it as a brooch, but I want to say.
That's my favourite flower.
Okay. And she's also saying about Lily of the Valley that she liked.
That was her flower.
As well. Yeah. So she just wanted to give you those 2 flowers. I'm trying to just give a few flowers. I want to say there is change, and I know we've spoken outside, but there is change around where you're living. So if it's not a physical move, then you're moving things within your flat. You've decided that you might move, not exactly a change of room to a different purpose, but almost you've been thinking about it in different furniture, in different places or different storage, and sorting out because you want some change to happen, and there's going to be change around you. Okay. And I also want to give you the colour of orange, which is a lovely colour of vitality to give you. And as I say, that you are on the up, you are near the summit of the mountain. So things, are very much, it will start to be easier because you'll be then on the slope going down. Okay. And with that, I say, God bless you. Because Peter, I just want to come to you very quickly and say, I'm aware of your dad, and your dad is putting a hat on. Yeah. And he's taking it off and putting it on and taking it off. Now, I know that you go back to Malta quite a bit.
Yeah.
Are you forgetting to put a hat on sometimes?
What, when I'm there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because he's saying about protecting your hair. He's saying he got a little bit of fin on top.
Yes.
And he had to make sure
Yeah.
that he would even put suntan cream on his scalp because bits would burn.
Yeah.
And he's saying
Strong sun, yeah.
that with a strong sun, you can get away with it in the UK Although at the moment it's so he's saying be careful and do what he did. Well, that makes his hair greasy. He's saying make sure, and he's been polite, but it's almost as though he wants to not be polite to you, to say in a very friendly, fatherly way, get that hat on
Really?
because you've had 1 or 2 headaches.
Yes.
And he
It
said,
does get it with that heat, yeah.
yeah, exactly. But
And
he
you're getting it
did.
here now. It's like multi.
We are, but he's saying, because he's showing me the hat on, the hat off, the hat on, the hat off. And it's almost as though you need almost a fold cap that you can have in a pocket. Sometimes you haven't got the bag for it.
Put it in my bag and
Okay, but he's very aware, he's been there and he's just reminding you that he put the suntan cream on his head. And not many people have ever come back and said that to me. So
Awesome.
is the fact that, you know, you are thinning, because he's saying you are thinning on top like him. Okay, well, I can't see that you are, but it's your dad that's saying
Lovely
it,
head of hair.
not me. But he's saying it's not as thick as it used to be. It's not protecting you from
Oh,
the
I see,
sun
yeah.
as much as it used to.
Uh-huh.
So just be
So
careful
why-
rather than sorry, because these headaches you've had, some of them are the fact that you're not protecting your head enough.
Thank you,
Okay,
Jackie.
and
Yes.
about that. And he loves being out there because he goes out there when you go out there. So it's almost as though you're taking
You
him.
love the heat, yeah.
Yeah, so he quite likes, sometimes you have an empty seat. And he said, when you have the empty seat, he's sitting in it. Okay, so he quite enjoys being able to sit with him on the
The
plane.
rest.
I know, but as I say with that, I'll
Thank you.
give you his love, because I want to come over and just say to Lauren and Vicky, where are you? Oh, you are there. Yep, okay. Is that I've got to say that I've got Mum here and she looks beautiful. As always, she's really turned out beautiful. She said she's been packing ready to go away with Lauren. So you're taking Mum. So try and get one where you've got a seat next to you because she's coming. But she's got this lovely, really strong perfume on. So I don't know if you've got some of her perfume and you sometimes use it or you sometimes spray the room with it, but there is a very distinct perfume.
I've got one that smells like her perfume.
Yeah, because
Hers.
yeah, I don't really know perfumes very much, but she's doing that and she's bringing it's a very sweet, like summer flowery type perfume, and she's just be aware of it around her. Look for the signs of her being around, because I know we're speaking with Grandad that he sometimes thinks that she's not around him as much, but she's just not been as verbal. But she said there's just so many people up here to talk to and do things with that she forgets what the time is with having to have earth hours, you know, and about being around you at an appropriate time that isn't in the middle of the night, because that's when she'd like to come and communicate, and that's when you end up waking up at a funny time. So either you've woken up at a funny time or Mum has.
Yeah.
So you understand that, Vicky. So, and you don't know why. It's suddenly as though you've shut up in bed or you've, you know, wanted a drink, but it's in the middle of the night and Mum is saying it's her. Because that's the quietest time, she said, because you can be like her where you're not terribly quiet. So it's not easy for you to have a quiet moment when you can suddenly feel her. But in the middle of the night, you're quiet. So she's just giving that to you and saying that she's around you, okay? And that things are changing around you as well. So I don't know if you've been thinking that you want a change in where you're living or moving things around. Would you understand that?
Not about living, but other things are going on.
Right, because there are changes. So she's trying to move and it's been a bit on the cloudy side. But she's given you a lovely sunflower as well and saying wants to give you that because it for sunflower knows where it's going. It's straight, it's high, it's going to the sun, it's having the positive attitude. And she loves your positive attitude because you are changing an attitude to how you used to look at things.
Okay.
Okay, and you're going for the glass half full and looking for what you do have. Do you understand that? And then working with that. But as I say, she sends her love. She's giving me September as well, so I don't know if you've got
Granddad's birthday.
That's Granddad's
Yeah,
birthday. Well, then can you give him love?
Will do.
You know, she'll be around him, but whether or not she can manage to do something with lights again, she's not sure. She says she hasn't quite done that course yet. She's done it a little bit, but she needs to learn it more. And she's been showing Maureen around.
Okay.
Okay, so that's been an opportunity for her to be able to, you know, do the touring that she wants, just to be able to show Maureen. Okay, but once she's sorted with Maureen, then you know she'd be back in the house and you'll feel her and look out for that beautiful smell of perfume. Okay,
Okay.
and that's how God bless you. Ashley,
Thank you.
Just to add to that, just keep the mic for a second, because as you were talking, For anyone who has read my book, not that it's another plug for it, but there's a poem in there which Shirley had written, and it was all about. And that's where the phrase "love keeps walking" came from, because actually my address was inspired really by that, because Shirley, after my wife had made a prayer and a wish, waited 10 years for our boys to arrive. It came true 3 times, but we believe we'd had failed pregnancies with girls. And my wife was unable to carry girls. And when my wife was pregnant with boy number 3, Shirley wrote this poem. And it was all about Oscar saying goodbye to his brothers in heaven. It was all about the concept that love exists in the spirit world, and that Oscar, or the energy or the being of Oscar, had missed saying goodbye to his brothers, knowing that he had to wait his time, hoping that he would still be able to rock. So love keeps walking. And the picture of the 3 boys on the hoodies and t-shirts out there, that's all for it. So she was commenting on that and how she liked the picture and it's sort of coming together, but how it was more of a portal than a gate. And the people that are at the church, you'll be able to see this. People online, you'll be able to look on my website. But the picture is actually of Oscar waving goodbye to his 2 brothers, and it's almost like 3 toddlers. But she said it's like it's a portal, and people are coming and going all the time. It's like a busy border. And she was making reference to that. You've just mentioned that she's talking about introducing other people, because she feels like she's become very quickly a subject matter expert. And I think from a personality point of view, she's saying you would understand her being like not a bee's body, but actually likes to be busy. You'd understand from personality.
Yeah.
But how that she doesn't matter how long they've been here. I've been promoted. I'm the subject matter expert because I know what's going on and I can take people to what's going on. So she's talking about that. Now, don't reveal it, particularly as we're online. But she says there is a password, and I think I'm talking to you, that you had generated for her, but it belonged to an account of some sort, but you've reused it. Now, she's talking about it coming up quite recently, and you've had to change it. And she's talking about the fact you've added it. I don't know if it's even like an apostrophe to the existing password. So don't reveal the password, right? But do you know what she's talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So there's the evidence, if you like, that she's been around. She liked the fact that it'd been like a reuse of a password. I feel like they've just added that special character, that exclamation mark. So she's making some fun of that. And she was also talking about the fact that there's been a nuisance caller that had repeatedly called. And she's talking about someone that you have stopped. I don't know if this is even on mum's phone or it's someone else's phone, but I've got you going through the motions of saving the number to someone's phone to block them, to restrict it coming in. That makes sense?
Possibly.
Yeah, that's what she's showing me. But she feels like you're she's calling you the family's technical guru, and you've sorted it out, okay? And she's making fun of that. Make sense? Okay, so just a bit of additional evidence for you there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You've understood your communicator message. My next communicator, as they come in, this person talks about being a brother. Okay, interesting. So I'm not going to reveal who in the church other than me, but I'm a Freemason, okay? And this person, when they talk about being a brother, I don't think that they're necessarily telling about just being a sibling. They're talking about being part of a fraternity in the same way that I call my brothers at the rugby club my brothers, as well as in the lodge. Right. So as this person comes in, I feel like they're part of this fraternity. I don't know if they're either showing me the concept of like a St. James, or they're talking about a Jim or a James, Jimmy as part of a name. They're talking about a heart attack, and I've had an impact, something fast impact. I've had a heart attack, I've had heart failure, and I've passed away. Right. Yeah, and they would know in the church. Right? Someone in the church is going to know this man. He's part of several fraternities, and it's either like sporting or it's some sort of club where, and I feel like there's other men involved, because he sort of made fun about the fact that he enjoys being the company of other men, and these were his brothers, brothers in arms. So I don't know if it's even military. He's showing me some sort of uniformed service, I think now. Maybe it is military. Right, okay, and heart attack. Right. And I think it is linked to the military. I'm seeing like a purple flash of colour, like a darker purple, almost like parachute regiment sort of purple. Right. Someone in the church will understand a man. I feel like he's got links to armed services, and he's showing me on a calendar weekend. So I don't know if he was like armed reservists or services, something either to do with parachute. That link there. Anyone understand this at the moment? I feel like I'm over here. Two gentlemen sat at the back of the church at the moment. He's standing behind the 2 of you at the moment, this guy. Would you have links to a man in the spirit world who's passed of a heart attack, links to the armed services either of you two? No, it doesn't make any sort of sense. and I kept picking up this name, like St. James. It felt like a.
Could it be a relative I've never met?
Could be. Heaven's a big place, but the way that I try and work is that you would have to know them. Otherwise, I could sort of give everyone a great grandfather or great. So it could be a relative, but they're claiming to know someone in the church and they're standing behind you. So you'd need to know enough about them. So if it's a relative you hadn't met, you'd need to have known that they had links to the services, possibly to do with either air service or Air Force or Army. But I've got planes and parachutes. There's that link to him. And he's got brothers, my brothers in arms. So you'd need to know that as a fact rather than it could be.
Yeah.
You're saying yes?
No.
Oh, but you understand me. You still don't know it. Okay, now I don't have to say sorry. I'm sorry. My job as the medium is to give satisfactory evidence of life after death. Right? Why is he standing there then? Who is it that you're here? Right. Let me take out some of the information. I think I've got multiple communicators coming through. Let me try and place this man. You are a brother, right? Sibling. Okay. Someone in the church is going to understand this man, who was a sibling and also he was a brother, heart attack. He is passed over with a heart attack. I'm going back, spirit world. Okay, thank you. I feel that where he was showing me the links, so I'm born in 1982, and the Falklands, I know there's been an anniversary of the Falklands, but this person has passed within the last 40 years. So it's a while back, and they're talking about the Falklands. I mean, so forget what I was saying about the armed services and his link. He's showing it to me almost like I've got a memory or a vision on the TV. But I feel like I'm in the autumn of 1982, around that period that this man has transitioned to the spirit world. You'd know him. He'd be family to you. He is a brother. And the name, it's like a ward. I don't know if it was either on St. James's ward. No, you would know St. James's ward. There's some sort of ward, like a hospital ward that you would have been to. No, right, still standing at the back. Ivan Daphne, I know you're at the front of the church. This man that's linking with me, I'm trying to get him to channel me in. I've got a man in the spirit world that's passed with a heart attack, claiming to, I think it's Daphne, I think it's you. Man, family, to you. He was a brother, not necessarily your brother, and it's a heart attack. Can you understand that to begin with? Place of male member of your family. 1980s passing. Not of a heart attack, heart failure, heart attack, impact around the heart? No. Before the 1980s. Think or you're sure? Okay. Because he's claiming to know you. Would you have understood, because he's talking about you being on St. James's ward or visiting someone or St. James? Yes. St. James's Hospital, right? Okay. He's claiming to know you. I think I am with you, Daphne, and he's sort of going back a while. And he's talking about like some of the men in his life almost being like his brothers. So I don't know if he either had links to the services himself, but you would have understood him being, it's either like my granddad used to call it one of the church like the Jolly Boys Club. But there's this idea of like him doing something, some sort of club or society. I don't know if it's either like an armed services club or something like that, or a CIU, a working man's club, something like that he would have been a member of.
I really can't relate to that. Sorry.
You don't know?
No, I'm sorry.
Dad's brother. He's talking about dad's brother. So he was your dad, her dad's brother, your dad's brother. So your
I had
uncle.
two brothers. One I didn't know, I never met.
Okay. The one you
I
knew.
had brothers, but that's not what you're saying.
No, he's talking about being dad's brother, dad's
Yes.
brother. He's talking about you being on the St. James's Hospital. Your dad's brother passed with a heart attack? But this communicator.
It wasn't in St. James's.
No, you. He's talking about you being in St. James's. I don't think you had to talk to us.
I've been there only to visit Ivor when he was in there.
Yeah. That's good, because I wasn't with you. He was.
Mm.
Okay. So I think this is your dad's brother that's talking, and he was just popping in to say hello. Okay. And he was giving me glimpses back to that period of time in the Falklands, almost as if there'd been some sort of link to that period of time. I think it was 1982. So I'm sure it was the year he was born. Was it the Falklands? Yeah. That's what he was showing me. But I thought it was multiple communicators coming through. The man at the back of the church that was communicating, you just gave me some information about a tortoise. Did you understand some of the other things about the other communicator?
Well, I know my dad's brother. My uncle.
Yeah.
That died of heart attack. But I wasn't around the family at the time.
Okay. So I think the St James stuff at the hospital is like Daphne was in the hospital and he was just popping in to say, pleased to see that you're there for each other and supporting and enabling each other. It's quite important. But you mentioned tortoise and he said, I don't have a tortoise. And then some other bloke was like, no. And this was the guy that was standing behind you a minute ago. It's like, I had a tortoise. Okay. But I feel like, is he like survived the tortoise? The tortoise is still around.
No, but that's about all I could remember from him.
Okay. Because he's talking about the fact he died before the tortoise did. Someone had to look after it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Then I think I'm also with you. What was your name, please?
Terry.
Hello, Terry. Yeah, the St James's Hospital stuff, that was definitely you. That was your dad's brother. But the other bloke's like, I'm a dad's brother. That'd be your dad's brother as well. It's your uncle, yeah? And then he said, your dad's brother didn't have a tortoise. Yours did. Right, okay. And he's like, it's up here now. But he outlived me. He outlived me. And he's talking about the fact someone made the joke when he got the tortoise. I don't know if I've even inherited the tortoise or something. He said, you need to put the tortoise in your will. Yeah, no. And he's joking about the fact that someone then had to look after. Okay, right. As he links with B&E, sort of, he comes forward. Brother. I don't think this is because. Okay, thank you. Right, slow down. I know earlier on I was talking about something to do with the military and the armed services. Right? He showed me something medieval. So he wasn't alive in medieval times. But he showed me like a battlefield of destruction. And I'm asking what it is. I think he's almost like using like an oracle card in my mind about a transition away from destruction. Okay, because I've got things on fire.
I can't really remember a great deal about this particular uncle.
Right. Now, this is about you in the now. So I'm asking for something more modern, right? He's talking about you. Glad to see you in a new season. Because the last seasons felt like a period of transition away from destruction.
Oh, that fits.
Right, okay. And he was showing me those things like, in the same way that Yosemite Park, beautiful forest, beautiful things, like forest fires need to happen in order for beautiful things to happen again. And he's talking about the fact it feels like you've gone through that period of transition where things almost had to be destroyed and burnt in order to be. But he's talking about the new beginnings and this new birth. That feels like an exciting thing. So pleased to see in a new season. He feels quite excited about you being in this new season, about going forward. But he said it's not by accident, not by chance, as a result of you maneuvering, you overcoming and adapting to what has happened. And he wants to really, he's like your one man sort of fan club, because he's saying, I don't think he recognizes how strong he's been and how much resilience he had to get through that. If you look over your shoulder and look what you've not just survived, but moved on to, he's sort of almost here to point that out to you, that you did that. You're so much stronger than you think you are. Look at the resilience you had, onwards, forwards, upwards. Okay.
I can take that.
Yeah. And he's excited. He wants to create this sense of excitement and buzz with you, because he feels like this is just another season. This isn't the end season. And we're going to move on again. And there'll be an even better season sort of ahead. But as a result of you and your decisions, and it's talking about the fact that you had to make sure that you ask the right questions, you surrounded yourself with enough information to make good, effective decisions. And as a result of you, personal responsibility, your decisions, that's where you are, and that's where you're going. So he feels excited about that. He was giving me an anniversary in July. So I know we've just gone into August, but I feel like there'd been a birthday within the family that has only just gone. And he's talking about counting up to something more significant, like I'm zeroing it up. Like this one wasn't as important as the next one.
I'd have to look at my diary at home. My memory's not good.
I don't know if he's just reinforcing the 7 because it's July. I was even talking about like 7/7, like an anniversary of 7/7, and that next year being a bigger event. Would you be aware of a family birthday that would have happened about 3 weeks ago?
Well, they're not talking to me.
Okay.
But none of my immediate family are in July.
Right. Let me ask him. I think I might have another communicator coming in here. 7/7. He's shown me the attacks in London. 2007, 7th of July, the 4 transport hubs.
Well, I have spoken about that incident.
Okay. Recently?
Yeah.
Right, okay. that's what he's showing me in my head around the significance of that. And he's took, because when I was saying next year, he said no, it'd be 2 more years. So not July next year, the year after, it will mark 2027, 20 years since those attacks. But how we still, it's almost like he feels vulnerable, but he's wanting to give you a shield. I don't know if you spoke about like protection.
I can see why he might want to,
Yeah.
if it is my uncle, I can see why he might want to protect me, to be
Yes,
honest.
he's like putting a shield in your hand, but it's almost like you're Captain America because you're using the shield like a force field over London, right? And he's talking about the fact that if he had the opportunity to protect, he would. His instinct is to step in and shield. And he wants to recognize that because he feels that you've got, regardless of the destruction season, he's talking about you having a bit of a warrior creed. And
Very much so.
yeah, and it's like
Fired up the other night, would you believe?
well, it's what he's saying, and he wants to sort of reinforce that.
Reignited, sorry, is a better word.
No, he's proud of you because of that, and he just wants to see that smile, and he wants you to wear it like a badge of honor, like an element of pride, because it's quite automatic with you. You don't necessarily set out to be a hero or a warrior in that warrior story. It's just his instinct, it's his personality, and he wants to talk about. Yeah, so he's very proud of you, and he wants to recognise it. He's elevating you around that. Okay, Mum, do you want to add anything to this? And then I think we'll be finished, won't we? Yeah. Okay, so with this man or someone else? Yeah. Okay, so I'll bring my mum in. But you've understood it, communicate in the end, and message. Thank you very much.
Ashley. Yes, I have.
Coming to time. Okay, so I've got fresh grass under your feet. So I don't know if you've just cut grass in an area that's around you, or we can take it symbolically that you are treading on new grass.
The fresh grass in the garden was cut by an 80-year-old woman whilst I sat down. But yes, I went to an area a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
It's where I want to move to.
Right, okay, because it's fresh grass. Is what I felt as though, and we don't know the future. We can sometimes say that spirit are aware that they want to move you to this fresh grass. But as I say, we don't say.
Definitely on the card.
Yeah, okay. And it smells beautiful, this grass, because it's just been cut and it's lovely and it's a fresh start there as well. So it's all very positive for you.
Thank you.
But with that, I say God bless you,
Thank
because
you very much.
we are finishing slightly earlier. So I just want to say, Lisa, I had a wonderful bird of paradise flower for you. You know, the one that's got the orange coming up, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So whether it has special links with you,
Yes, it has.
right, but I just want to give you that with love from the spirit world.
Oh, thank
Okay, Julian, I'll probably be too quick for you with that, so I'll just do it without the mics. Cherie, I've got white wisteria and a link with Mum. So I don't know if you've ever had white wisteria, but if not, then she's surrounding you with absolutely hundreds of blooms of it. Okay, so just take that with her love. And then I had to go with Terry, and I had Sweet William and Sweet Pea with you. And I had a gentleman linked with it that didn't have any teeth. So his mouth had gone very thin in here, his jaw had gone very thin, but he didn't like having teeth in. So it might take a while to think of him, but to understand why, you would get Sweet William. It could be the name, it could be that it was a flower that was liked by a member of the family. So you've got Sweet Pea and Sweet William. Okay, and with that, I say God bless you, because I wanted to give Rosemary, I had some yellow carnations for you. And the yellow is symbolic of new study, new beginning, learning, education. And they're all being given in love. They're the smaller carnation rather than the big ones. And there's a whole bouquet of them for you. So they're lighting the way for you with this education for you. Okay, now where else was it? I was going with the colours. And the two ladies that are together, I don't know if you are linked, but as I say, I wanted to give you a handful of anemones. You know the flower anemones? They're beautiful, rich colours, but being given to you as a bouquet from love from the spirit world, and an anniversary that goes to the springtime. I don't think they're necessarily a spring flower, but they're what I call a very delicate flower. And I've also got for you, and I think it was a spring passing, because the flowers that were there at their service, there was a lot of white peace lilies. So do you understand the link with the person whose passing was with the lilies? You do. Okay, because that's been given into you in love. So I just want to say that. And I want to then say to Phil, your mum was around and your mum's been in the garden and there's a lot of roses out in bloom at this moment of time. So she's very happy that they're all looking healthy, you're looking after them, and she just loves the smell as well. So whether you brought some into the house, but there is a smell of roses that is, and it's almost as though you go under the trellis and you can smell. She really likes them and she likes sitting under it as well. So she very much is being into that. Okay. And I was trying to think of the name of this other flower that I had for Daphne, but when I remember it, I'll tell you in the week because I just can't remember the name of it. Okay. So there's a flower for you that I will give you in the week. Okay. I'll look it up in a book. Yes. Thank you. All right. And with Carol, I want to give you some chrysanthemums. They're beautiful bronze, golden ones that come out autumn time. So there's an anniversary around chrysanthemum time, which is normally October, November time. So you'd understand that. But they're saying they had lots of chrysanthemums and they love the chrysanthemum flower. And they're the ball chrysanthemum as well, rather than the spiky ones. And that's being given you with love. Okay, so I'll say God bless because we're now coming to the time where Phil is going to come up and do the notices. And Ashley's got one more thing to say.
I know earlier on I had a couple of different communicators, which then split between Terry at the back of the church and Daphne. But I kept having that Masonic sort of link, and then the brothers with the brothers in arms and the Falklands. So my son Noah's 8, and I was talking about the time of passing when I was born in 82. But they're showing me as an 8-year-old. They're showing Noah as an 8-year-old, and then online. Because my one grandfather was a Mason, the other one was a Buffalo, and he used to talk about being the poor man's Masons. But James, I think you were just confirming there that your grandfather was in Elk's Lodge as the Buffalo link, although I'm not sure what an elk is, and stepfather in the other, and it was then 1990, so 1982 plus 8, that's about 1990, isn't it? So, James, I think that other communicator was for you, because just as I was sat there, I had like a third guy, and he's like, no, he's online. I don't know the people in the church. So, James in Texas, thank you for watching. Yeah, confirmation for you, that other communicator. Just sending lots of love and light. I know that you're doing your own thing and marching to the beat your own drum in Texas. It was talking about you being a deliberate misfit, like you were surrounded by sheep, but you didn't look like the same as them. And this was important, that you were deliberately amongst that flock for different reasons. So James, sending lots of love and light, keep being you, shine bright. And it was a deliberate placement that this is important part of that mission. Okay, do I do a closing prayer now? And then the thanks. Yeah, thank you to the medium. Thank you, Mum. And thank you to the congregation. Yeah, so Phil's going to come up and do the notices, I believe, and then closing prayer after that.
And as Phil's just coming up, I'd forgotten to say, Steve, I had your guide dog. So he just came to be remembered, and with love. And with Julian, I had some wild, like mountain bushes of heather for you, okay? And a white rose for Simon.
Thank you very much, Jackie and Ashley. And I'm sure you'll all agree we have had a wonderful demonstration of mediumship today. Thank you. So, forthcoming events, our guest medium for the Divine Service on Sunday, August the 9th at 11 a.m. is Sarah Deverell. Please note that Wimbledon Spiritualist Church YouTube Divine Services for each week can now be viewed via a link on our Facebook pages and website. The healing clinics for members of the community and animals is every Tuesday from 7 until 8:15 p.m. and on Thursday from 10 a.m. until 12 noon at Wimbledon. And you will always be greeted by our healer practitioners in a safe and welcoming atmosphere. New events for summer 2026. As Jackie has already mentioned, we have our psychic high tea at Hackbridge Spiritualist Church on August the 8th, Saturday, August the 8th, from 2:30 until 5:30 p.m. And the admission charge is £20. Yes. So if anyone is interested, I'm sure there are still many places available, so please contact Jackie. There is no Friendship Club this coming Wednesday, August the 5th, and we resume on August the 12th. A diary note, our next Friendship Club mediumship demo is on Wednesday, August the 19th from 1 until 2 p.m. And we have a medley of mediumship featuring Annette Carty and Carol and Gerard Leduc. So that is August the 19th, Wednesday, 1 until 2 p.m. Development Circles, Dawn Collinson's development group is now on Zoom only, not being held at Wimbledon Church, and it's every second and fourth Thursday of each month. And the next meeting is Thursday, August the 13th, starting at 7 p.m. on Zoom, and the cost is £5. If you are interested in joining the group, please contact Dawn on her email, which is dawncollinson80, that's 80, at gmail.com. Next open platform with myself, Phil Shaw, is on August 23rd from 2:30 until 4:15. That's Sunday, August 23rd, 2:30 until 4:15. This afternoon from 1 until 2 p.m, I'm working with Ashley and we are giving a demonstration of transfiguration and mediumship. And we don't do this very often, so it's always a great privilege to work with my good friend, Ashley. And you can't predict any kind of results, can you really? It's all very unexpected and experimental, as we like to call it. So yes, so please join, please stay after the service if you would like to see the demonstration. And also we have a double event. We have a demonstration, excuse me, of mediumship on Monday, August the 10th, as Jackie's already announced, at 7 p.m. with guest Chris Shearer. Chris is a very in-demand medium in the north of England and making a rare visit down south. It's his first time at Wimbledon, so please try to attend if you can and give him a warm welcome. Special guest Lee Roberts will be with us for an evening of mediumship on Saturday, September the 12th at 7 p.m. and tickets are already selling fast. So be sure to book early at the discounted price of £6.50 in advance or pay on the door for £10. And that concludes the notices. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Phil for reading the notices, for all you do in the church as well. Really good stuff. We're so blessed to have so many volunteers. We've got Julian doing the AV today. So many of you help out with maintenance of the church. Very much appreciated. And we're always in the need of people to keep these doors open. Remind grateful of the obligations to keep these doors open. So if anyone can ever give us like an hour a year, even to help in some way at the church, we're looking for people to help with facilitating events like this. As the chairperson, we can provide you with all the necessary training. Always good to have someone in the tech booth. Less of a booth, it's still a seat at the back of the church, but making sure that we have an ability to connect with everyone online. We feel it's really important in terms of sharing our knowledge of life after death, the truths of spiritualism. So being able to go live on YouTube is really important to us. Having someone that can help with that, if we get the crackling of the microphone as well as help with the sort of garden. But we'll provide all the necessary training, equipment and guidance for anyone that could give us even an hour a year to say, well, I could chair for you once a year, or I could help on the sort of technical side. I'm sort of developing, three little humans as technical experts to help in between their rugby commitments next season. But hopefully my sons will all be helping and doing a bit more of that. Okay, right. We'll now then close in prayer. So please join me as we close in prayer, because now it's time to bring this sacred time to a close. Mother Earth, Father God, we give thanks for the love and wisdom that has touched our hearts and lifted our spirits. We're grateful for the presence of our loved ones, family, guides and helpers from the spirit world who have reminded us that life is eternal and that love knows no end. Love keeps walking. May the peace and light we have shared here go with us as we return to our daily lives, inspiring us to walk with compassion and to be the living expressions of truth and kindness. We ask for the continued blessings upon this church, all that have gathered, both seen and unseen, that we may always be guided by the light of spirit. Friends, until we meet again, may we remain connected in love and harmony. So mote it be. Amen. Thank you very much. You can. Is there a panel reading?
Sorry?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Beautiful service.
Lovely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil.
Okay, no final reading because we're going to get tea and coffee and cakes and biscuits.
Tea,
for
coffee
everyone.
and cake.
in time for them to have a rest break before hopefully staying on for our 1 o'clock meeting. Okay.
Absolutely. And as we say, if you're watching online, I appreciate, James, you're in Texas, but come for the tea, coffee and cake and stay for the service. We're always open on a Sunday morning. I think that any good church should be a good heart of the community for tea, coffee and cake as well. But if you are going to join us for tea, coffee and cake now, wonderful. And if you're going to make your way home afterwards, safe journey back for us. If not, we'll see you at 1 o'clock. For those of you online that have joined us, thank you. Do share this content, YouTube, share it across your socials, let people know about the Divine Service. I think we've had a few dozen of you watching live, and I know that all this will be watched again from. Otherwise, sending love, light, and best wishes to all of you. Good afternoon, and God bless. Thank you. Bye.